good job, stable home, people who depend on him. From the outside, everything adds up. But at night, when the house goes quiet and there is nothing left to do, he sits with something he cannot explain. Not sadness exactly, not regret, something closer to distance. Like he is watching his own life through glass. He did everything right. He followed the path. He built what he was told to build. And now he is standing inside a life that fits perfectly on paper, and wondering why it feels like someone else's. That feeling is not a crisis. It is a diagnosis. And Stoicism has a name for what caused it. Seneca wrote, in one of his letters to Lucilius, "It is not that I am brave enough to prefer poverty. I am wise enough to know that a man who spends his whole life climbing is often just running from himself." He wrote that 2,000 years ago. But look around. Read the room of your own life. How many of your goals were actually chosen? How many were inherited from a father who never questioned his? How many were absorbed from a culture that measures a man's worth in output and acquisition? The Stoics called this living kata doxa, according to opinion. Not according to reason, not according to nature, according to what others expect. And the terrifying part is this: it does not feel like someone else's life while you are building it. It only feels that way once it is complete. No man wakes up one morning and decides to abandon his own life. It happens the way Hemingway described bankruptcy, gradually, and then all at once. It starts with small concessions. You take the degree that made your parents proud instead of the one that made you curious. You stay in the city that made sense logically instead of the one that called to something in you. You choose the relationship that looked stable over the one that felt alive. Each choice, individually, is defensible. Each choice, in isolation, looks like maturity. But stacked together, over years, they form a structure. And that structure is not your life. It is an argument for a life, built to satisfy an audience you were never supposed to be performing for. Marcus Aurelius understood this trap intimately. He was born into a role he did not ask for, expected to perform in ways that had nothing to do with who he actually was. He wrote, "The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Not what they are supposed to be, not what they represent, what they actually are. And what most men's lives actually are, when examined without mercy, is a very long series of compromises that were never reviewed." Here is the part that makes this particularly hard to solve. The cage is invisible because it is made of approval. And approval feels good. It is supposed to feel good. Human beings are wired for belonging, for recognition, for the comfort of being seen as acceptable. That is not weakness. That is biology. But the Stoics drew a sharp line between what is natural and what is wise. Epictetus said, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life." Most people read that as passive. It is the opposite. He is saying, stop arranging your life to match what other people wish for you. Start arranging it around what is actually true. The invisible cage is not built by your enemies. It is built by the people who love you and have their own idea of what your happiness should look like. Your parents who wanted security for you. Your friends who feel uncomfortable when you grow beyond what they recognize. The culture that celebrates a very specific and narrow version of success. None of them are villains. But their approval, pursued unconsciously, becomes a prison with no bars and no lock. Just the quiet, daily choice to stay inside. The Stoics did not believe in dramatic escapes. No retreats, no burning it all down. no running from one life into another. They believed in something much harder and much more lasting, the practice of honest examination. There is a technique Marcus Aurelius used called the view from above. He would mentally step back from his immediate circumstances and look at his life from a distance. Not to escape it, to see it clearly. From the ground, every tree looks enormous. From above, you can see the forest. Try it now. Imagine you are watching your life as a stranger would. Not a critic, not a fan, just someone with no investment in the outcome. What do you see? A man chasing goals he chose consciously, with full understanding of why they matter to him. Or a man moving along a track that was laid down before he was old enough to question it. There is no judgment in that question, only information. Because the Stoics understood that a man cannot correct his course until he first sees where he is actually going. And once you see it clearly, the path forward is not about destroying what you have built. It is about identifying, one decision at a time, which parts of your life are actually yours. Which commitments reflect your values, not your conditioning. Which relationships energize the real you, not the performed version. Which direction, when you follow it, makes you feel more like yourself rather than less. That is the work, not a revolution, a refinement. Slow, honest, and entirely yours. The man at the beginning of this reflection, sitting in his quiet house, watching his life through glass, he is not lost. He is awake. And that moment of recognition, uncomfortable as it is the most valuable thing that can happen to a man, because a man who cannot see his cage will spend his whole life decorating it. But a man who sees it clearly, who names it without drama and examines it without self-pity, that man has something rare, the beginning of a life that is actually his. Seneca wrote, near the end of his life, reclaim yourself. Not rebuild, not escape, not reinvent. Reclaim. Because what you are looking for was never gone. It was just buried under years of living for the wrong audience. The path is still there. It was always there. Walk it. Walk the path. Remain steady.